welcome back to today's video. Today's video is going to be a little different from what I usually do. I'm going to be showing you how I trade or sell my aquarium plants. To give you a little bit of context, I found an aquarium for sale on an online marketplace that was a shrimp aquarium, and I've been looking for shrimp for a while now, so I actually asked the guy if he had any shrimp to sell. So he wasn't actually interested in selling them, but more in a trade, because he was setting up a new aquarium and he needed some aquarium plants. So I gave him a list of the plants that I kept in my setups so he could choose what he wanted. So he's chosen some weeping moss, some pogostemon and the rotala. Obviously I'm going to be as generous as I can in the portions that I can actually give. As he is setting up a new tank, it's always nice to start off with a lot of plants. It does help out. Obviously, the more plants you have when you initially start up, the less chances you do have to have a lot of algae outbreaks. So here I finished off trimming the weeping moss. Doesn't look like it, but there is actually quite a fair amount here. So this is the longest part of the process, is actually netting out all the pieces of moss from inside the aquarium. In this case, the pipette does help a lot, as it kind of dislodges some of the moss that's wedged itself in between the rocks. So as you can see, that is quite a good amount of weeping moss in there. Same thing in this tank. I'm going to be trimming the pogostemon and the rotala that has grown quite a bit at the back there. This tank isn't running with CO2, so in these kind of low-tech setups, I'm kind of cautious when I trim. If you do trim too brutally, what does happen is it just stunts the growth, and as the plants aren't growing as much as they should be, algae can start to appear. So yeah, I'm going to try and be generous with the portions without, breaking the balance of my tank too much. So for those of you who have watched my Dutch style planting video, you do know that this tank is still a lot of work in progress, as I am slowly rescaping it as I go. So eventually I do think I will be completely trimming down this huge ball of pogostemon. Unfortunately, because it does look quite nice, but it is taking over almost half of the tank now. I do think that if I did leave it, what would eventually happen is it would completely take over. It would grow over the other species of plants, and eventually it would completely choke them out actually. So now that I've trimmed all the pogostemon, I'm going to start to trim the rotala that's at the back. So here again, I'm not going to trim all the stems. I am going to leave a section with the taller stems at the back, as my betta does like to sleep in them. I also do want to keep, a small shaded area at the back so we can hang out as well. Trimming on this tank is done. I'm going to take everything out, and I do think that there's not enough stems, so I'm going to cut some more stems from my third tank. But before that, I am going to do a small water change, because I have picked up quite a lot of debris in the water column and I really don't want to leave that inside. Now that that's done, I'm going to continue cutting the rotala stems in this tank. And there we have it. So as you can see, fair amount of plants. That's actually quite good. So this next step I do every time I sell or I trade plants. I'm going to be soaking them in a product called Exit. For those who don't know what Exit is used to kill anything from planaria to hydra to a lot of different type of worms, and it also works extremely well for snails, which I do have in my tank. I've obviously sorted the snails out of the plants, but you know, just to be on the safe side, as this person is setting up a new tank, I don't really want them to have a big snail outbreak or potentially any nasties that could be in my tank that I haven't seen. I am now going to go out for lunch, and I'll be back in a few hours, and I will completely rinse them out and start to package them. Okay, so I'm now back from lunch. I've put the weeping moss in this small container with some dechlorinated water. I actually couldn't find my Ziploc bag, so I'm going to be using this kind of plastic cellophane paper. So this is obviously not the best way to pack them, but as I couldn't find the Ziploc bags, it's the only thing that I can actually use. It is quite a short drive to the meeting point, so I'm not too worried at this point. So here I'm just going to sort them out. One side Rotala, one side Pogo Simon. Now that I've packed up the plants and I've labelled them, I'm going to drive out to the meeting point. As you can see, French weather is on point this winter. It's bucketing down. And I have the shrimp, so I'm going to quickly drive home and get them in the tank. So I'm going to start drip acclimating them as quickly as possible. Some people do just float the bag or the box when they get the shrimp, and that's completely fine. I just prefer the drip method as I find it is a little more gentle and it prevents them from molting too quickly. So he has kindly given me some mini salvinia. I'm going to put that aside and I'll put it in one of my setups. To drip acclimate them, I'm going to be using this plastic bottle. I've just made a very small hole at the bottom. Again, you don't have to use a bottle, you can use a small tube, whatever really you have on hand. It was dripping a little too fast for my liking, so I'm just going to use a toothpick, and it acts as kind of a regulator, so I can adjust the drip. I am now going to leave them for a good 30 minutes as it was actually quite cold outside, so just going to give them the time to slowly acclimate. Okay, so it's been a good 30 minutes and it is now time to put them into their new home. If you're interested in how I built this small nano forest, it is available in my Moss Forest playlist. And that looks so cool. I'm very happy with how this tank is looking with the new strip inside and the pop of colour. It really gives a nice contrast on the green. And that is it for today's video. As usual, I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching.